I looked at, for example, Linda Mwananchi, where I have been a founding member. And we'll join Linda because Linda Mwananchi, people don't understand. Ni vugu. It's not yet a political party. So what has been happening with Linda Mwananchi is Sifuna comes in as a member of ODM. Babu Owino comes in as a member of the ODM. Fanyamambo comes to Linda Mwananchi as a member of DCP. We have people who come to Linda Mwananchi as members of Jubilee and others as members of Wiper. People have their constituent parties, but we support this movement. And I've always said very clearly, I'm in DCP, and I'm in DCP to stay. So the question here becomes, political parties, what will they offer? So Linda Mwananchi was approached by someone, and she wanted to join. Her name is Aisha Jumwa. What should Akina Sifuna do? I don't want to speak about her, but I want Kenyans to read about her past. And Kenyans made a decision, and they were making noise and telling them, oh, you people represent tomorrow, don't allow such people to come in. But then the question becomes, how do you, as a party now, when you become a party, stop certain people from coming to join? As we speak right now, you've seen the defections. In fact, I'm looking at the daily newspaper. Muirongo Kangata, Kiambu governor wa Matangi, Nyandarua governor, Kagombe, and Muthoni from Lamu, and many others, by the way, are going to defect. What will political parties do? And some of these people who are defecting, whether you like it or not, may have some support and some clout and some value they could bring to the party. But I don't think that's the direction to go. So I think the correct thing to do is to keep speaking to Mwananchi. Because the bottom line is, chama ikishindwa kitu ya kufanya, what do? They usually tell you go for nominations. Mwenye wananchi watatupea, ndio tutaenda na yeye as a party. So the bottom line is Mwananchi. We have to go and educate Mwananchi and speak to Mwananchi and shout to Mwananchi and remind Mwananchi and beg Mwananchi if we have to beg them. And tell them, refuse to forget. We want you to take from 2022 to 2027 now and think about each of those candidates and refuse to forget all the bad things that any of them may have done. And so that ikifika wakati wa nomination, we are not blaming the party for the candidate they brought to the fore. We are blaming Mwananchi for nominating a candidate that they should never have nominated. So for me, the bottom line still goes to Mwananchi, because hapo ndipo shida iko. Sometimes people who have killed, people who have maimed, people who have done atrocious things come and offer themselves. Na unakuta kwa nomination, Mwananchi have given that person 10,000 votes more than the nearest contender. What do you do with such Mwananchi? Hapo ndipo shida iko. That a party may have the dilemma of saying, tutafukuza huyu. Because parties want everybody in. But now the question becomes, wewe Mwananchi mwenye uliona huyu MP alidisappear for 5 years. Hakutumia CDF vizuri. He did atrocious things in the constituency. Why would you go to the nominations and nominate that person against other credible people? Hapo ndipo shida iko. Na mimi naomba tushikane sisi wote, and I thank Spice FM and every other media house that is trying to do this, for us to talk to Mwananchi and tell them this thing really boils down to you. Ni wewe ndio shida. Yeah. If they are terrible and you return them, we blame you. So that is done. Those ones have already shown who they are. They've already shown what they can do. But secondly, some of us who've offered ourselves for elective seats. When I started saying William Ruto is not fit to be president of the Republic of Kenya, that was in 2022. I was in Azimio and I was campaigning for Raila Amolo Odinga. I have never changed my stand. In fact, when Raila was joining hands to work with William Ruto, some of us had a chance to say, excuse, tunaingia na baba. We said no. I stood with very many people on this side of saying no to this administration. I can count for you with my whole fingers naziishe the number of people who've been bought since. And now they are singing songs that I didn't believe they would sing. Sisi wengine tumebaki. You think they don't know our address or they don't have our phone numbers? We have just been resolute about standing on the side of Mwananchi and refusing the threats, refusing the intimidation, refusing the money, and the offers are really good. Yeah, I have seen some of them now telling me, fanya mambo weka tu hapo mjinga, sasa nimenunua kaprado niko na niga. And I'm like, fine. Mimi naweza ishi nyumba ya mabati all my life if I have to. But I'm going to live with my integrity. So it is possible to tell. Just look at the last 5 years and see how many of them have flip-flopped. Unasikia ako huku. Fanya mambo has been consistent. One narrative, consistent throughout. To the point that Baba, who I supported so much, when he joined William Ruto, I drew the line and said, okay, Baba, sina vita na wewe, lakini mwenye mumeshikana na yeye, I cannot continue. So we will find such people. Someone has said something which I must respect. One of the persons on the comments has said that 8 million Kenyans had a problem with the candidature of Baba, and they had a problem with the candidature of Ruto. So they refused to vote in 2027. So again, I also agree there's a small disconnect somewhere, that we need to also offer leaders that are worthy of the votes of people, so that the voter turnout is good. Because sometimes Kenyans might look at the candidates who are going to be on the ballot and they are like, why should I even wake up? Let us give Kenyans candidates that would make them wake up in 2027. I think that is the main thing, especially the presidential candidate, because those ones now, you saw, they rarely go through a nomination for presidential candidates. Those ones are picked. But for these other seats, it's possible for Mwananchi to actually decide who will be on the ballot, for MP, for senator, for governor, because parties will offer you nominations. But for the presidential candidate, we must make sure that there are men and women worthy of making people wake up at 4 a.m. Otherwise, kuna majina munaweza eka hapo, hata fanya mambo akiwa anajisikia kuamka ashindwe kuamka. Many years ago, I used to dislike Baba for what I used to call him handpicking some candidates and giving them tickets. But after being in this space for some time, you realize that in a party there is nothing as expensive as loyalty. You'll find a guy who is very popular. When we almost made that mistake in Olkalao, oh, he seemed to be popular. Tomorrow morning after he's voted, he jumps ship and goes to the opponent side and starts fighting the party that took him to parliament. We saw that with Jubilee, with Akina Sabina Chege and others. And that's why it gets to a place where the people who are running the party make a decision. It's not usually the best decision, but sometimes it's a decision that makes sense. Can you imagine Jubilee was constrained for electing or nominating people? The people they decided to give the few nomination slots they had woke up the following morning and started working with William Ruto against who Jubilee was fighting. So you need to get to a place where you ask yourself as a party leader, if I have to choose between this one that people think is a fantastic person because he's given them money on the ground and he's made them to dance, and a person who is loyal to the cause, who shall we give our ticket? And many times, Raila Amolo Odinga would give a ticket to someone he knows. You know, you look at somebody like the late Otieno Kajwang, may he rest in peace. He of Mapambano. Baba knew that there probably were other people who were more popular in the ground, and people who would probably, Mwananchi would have said, we want this guy. But there was one thing about Otieno Kajwang. He was loyal to the cause, and never did he wake up one day and start fighting Baba from inside his own party. Because there's nothing as painful as you unapigwa kwako kwa nyumba, ukitoka nje unaenda tena unapigwa na watu wengine. You need to choose your battles to know that at home I'm safe. This is my peace. And when I go out there, I'm fighting other battles.
So then But you equally have to look at what others have said and how they have been treated. You know, Opondo Kaluma, what did he say the other day? Nothing has happened to him. Listen to what many other MPs are saying out here. And NCS is not moving, and police is not moving. And Kagusha was sent to 80 police officers to be arrested. Now, when you talk about selective application of the law and justice, where are we? And how do we then promise Kenyans that if we want a second term, to provide security and apply the very same law equally?
It's unfortunate. I found myself in court that day. We had come in solidarity with Kagusha. Not really in solidarity with the words he said. I think it's good to be fair. That some of those words we wish we could retract. Okay, we want people to vote the way they want to vote. The best we can do for now is to tell people, please don't vote for a certain person. He's not fit to be president. He's not good for this republic. But we can't take it to punishing those people who have decided to vote for that person. I think that is stifling democracy. Democracy has to be allowed to thrive, so that in as much as I don't agree with you, I agree that you have your right to vote for whoever you want, and you should not have consequences of repercussions of voting for that person. So that was unfortunate. What we were fighting against is that impunity, as you said,
yes,
where he had all those police officers being sent to him to arrest him at night, and all of them had their faces covered. And I'm glad he stuck and stayed at that premises until morning, and he insisted that if he has to be arrested, it has to be by uniformed policemen. And if he has to be carried in a vehicle, it has to be a registered police vehicle, with police colors and so on and so forth, and taken to a police cell, which is the right thing to do. So, and again, you ask yourself, if they arrested him in Kilimani, why did they have to take him to Kamukunji police station? He should have been taken to Kilimani police station, for example. So all these things that they do. Then now you have Duale calling other people hyenas. You have the other MP from Luo Nyanza who said very regrettable things about anybody who is going to be seen wearing a Linda Mwananchi t-shirt.
Yeah.
And he said that you are going, just try, and he kept threatening people, and he repeated it severally. Nothing has happened to him. Why? Because he's speaking things that are making this government happy. That the government is happy when violence is meted against other people who are not pro this administration. But when people who are pro the administration are threatened with violence, then the government comes with a very heavy hammer on those people. Let the law apply equally. Let everybody feel that they are protected under the cover of the law. I mean, some of us have had the opportunity on very many media houses to say nationally divisive things, things that could actually ban this nation. But we have chosen the path of restraint. We have chosen our words carefully, because we know once words come out, you can't go catching them into the air. So let us all be people who practice restraint, and in Rwanda began that way. It began by people calling others rats and saying that they should not exist, they shouldn't be there. Everybody has a right to exist in this country. Just campaign for your candidate, allow the others to do their part, and let Kenyans make the decision. Kenya does not need a new constitution. Kenya needs a new president. So William Ruto, if you're uncomfortable with our constitution, you're the one to go. Sisi tuko 50 million and we are okay with it. You alone, you are the one who is okay with it. So you leave us with our constitution. I mean, who said he must be president? What we are telling William Ruto is simple. Please, if you feel that this constitution is constraining you, resign as president. You don't have to be president. 50 million of us plus are okay with the constitution. Why are you the one who wants to change it? Who told you we want it changed? When did you ever consult Kenyans and Kenyans that told you that they have a problem with the constitution? So Kenyans are telling you, Your Excellency William Ruto, kwa heshima na unyenyekevu, kama katiba yetu ambayo uliapishwa nayo imekushinda, please leave us alone. Resign, okay? Go, maybe you can govern another country that can change the constitution the way it wants. But for us, as far as we are concerned as Kenyans, we are happy with our constitution. By the way, when you took oath of office in 2022, you swore to protect this constitution.
Yes.
Changing it is not protecting it. Coming and saying that you don't have to consult us is not protecting the constitution. This country belongs to over 50 million Kenyans, and they are happy with the constitution. The few people who are not happy with it, we have a few islands very close to Mombasa there. We can pick, because we can pick them and put them in that island. They just stay there. Then, so that way they are not disturbed by the rest of us who are okay with it. So that you leave the bigger piece of the country to us who are comfortable with this constitution. So we can create a small island to people who want zero constitutionalism, people who want anarchy. We just ask them, how many volunteer to go to a country without anarchy? In fact, hata hawa gunzo wamekuwa kitusumbua huku nini. All of them, we collect them, we put them there, and we say, a state that has got zero constitutionalism has been created in one of the small islands at the coast that we and then wakae huko. Then all of us who believe in constitutionalism and democracy and the rule of law and elections every 5 years and consulting Kenyans and not abducting people and not killing others can remain here in peace. Yeah. I'll tell you, the Constitution of Kenya 2010 is like a country that was running in an old Akamba bus. Okay? And then one day we woke up and decided we are buying a brand new bus. Yeah. Brand new shocks, it's airmatic suspension, the seats are new, it's got aircon, it's a wonderful new bus. The problem comes in here. We want to take a driver who is a rogue driver or a bad driver and put them in charge of a new bus. That bus will end up in a ditch. Buying a new bus is one thing, but then you must have the right driver for that bus. You must get a driver who understands that the suspension of this bus is airmatic, that this bus is now automatic, that this bus has got doors that open with a button and the doors are sliding. That's our new Constitution 2010. It requires of us that every time we are choosing the driver for the bus, we must be meticulous and we must get a polished person. And we must get a person who appreciates that this new bus comes with a lot of features. So what we have done is we've created a very good document, but we've entrusted the wrong people with the implementation of that document. And those people don't mean well for this country. And that's why they wake up. Kagushia has been ordered. The court has ordered the OCS to release Kagushia. And there's an existing court order, and they detain him until morning. That is warrant disrespect of the Constitution. And those are the things that we are saying are not the things we want to move into 2027. We want to see people who practice restraint in dealing with other Mwananchi, and to realize that nobody is more Mwananchi than the other one. We are all equal under the law. Let us respect one another. I want to look at Kenyans in the face, and I want to tell them that the ballot is a repository of hope. The ballot is that one place where you take your dreams, you take your aspirations, you take your hopes, you take those things that you want that are good for tomorrow. The ballot is not a reservoir of makasiriko, hasira, fujo, kufuta mutu kazi. Because when you take anger to the ballot, the fact remains that you might as well reap the results of anger in a year or two. So let us see that ballot as that place when we close our eyes, it's a repository of hope. And we are putting in that ballot all the things that we feel are the correct things for this country moving forward. So I'd like to urge Kenyans that yes, we want an end to killings, to abductions, to anarchy, to risasi amgu, to disrespect of court orders. We want an end to these things. But more than an end, we want a beginning. And we want a beginning in meritocracy, in good leadership, in servant leadership, in respect for the rule of law, in constitutionalism, in appointments of people with merit, and so on and so forth. So beyond looking at the end, let us look at the beginning. Olkalau was a good sign. It was a good example to the nation. That money in 2027 is going to be rendered irrelevant. That those people who have been stocking up money, those people who've been saying nikifika nitanunua kila mtu, we are telling them that utakuja na pesa yako utapea wananchi. Alafu wanagawa kidogo. They go and give the candidate that they want. They actually give a candidate money and they vote for the right candidate. Number two, Olkalau has also shown us that we shall guard votes. Because one of the other things that makes us seem like we didn't vote well is the fact that the Kenyans voted well, but to some extent were not able to guard some votes. And in 2022, there are people who came in because Kenyans were not able to guard votes in certain specific places. Now we are seeing the example of Olkalau, and it's going to be replicated across the country, where Kenyans are saying, beyond casting our vote, we shall make sure that our vote counts, and we shall make sure that our votes are not stolen. So that tomorrow morning, we don't have the same terrible people laughing at us and saying, niliwanyorosha kwa uchaguzi, yet we know what happened. So we will not allow them the pleasure of coming to laugh at us and tell us niliwanyorosha, yet we know they stole from us. So those two things will happen. How many of those good people are offering themselves?
Okay.
I have offered myself. I'm not an excellent human being, but Kenyans know I'm better than some of what we have on the menu. So I think let us offer ourselves. Let us also challenge the good people in our society, the ones that we know, tuambie we simama, na tusimame na wao, and we support them. I think we can clean up these parties from inside by just pushing the right people into these spaces and telling so and so, no, you can't afford to sit when things are going wrong. We want you to come out. We want you to vie. We will support you against the terrible options that we have. So, I mean, it's a concerted effort. Kenyans who are sitting there and pointing fingers and asking us who have gotten into the space what we are going to do, we are just telling them you're also part of this equation. Please, can you join in somehow in helping shape and in helping us get the right candidates. And I tell people, from every ward, from every constituency, it's possible to get one good person. We are not even looking for two, because only one can occupy the office at a go. Mimi nimejiofa Dagoretti. Now tumebaki 289 out of 290. Simwende mutafute 289 good ones, you know, and musupport the right ones. And don't waste energy on the wrong ones. Na ukiona blogger ako hapo anauza, because that's the other problem. These bad ones are still being sold by our own people. Endo kute jirani mwambie wacha upuzi. You are marketing a stale cabbage. This is a stale one. Can you stop it? Because sometimes some bloggers have a lot of influence. Na huyu blogger anashinda akiuza cabbage mbaya mpaka mtu anauliza ama tununue tu mbaya, mimi ndio sioni vizuri. So get these bloggers also and tell them, can you get to a place where you stop thinking from your stomach and start thinking as a person who means well?
On a scale of 1 to 10, justice at 4, how would you rate the performance?
In terms of justice, we are doing badly. Maybe 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10. Because the most important thing, and people are keeping asking us as the opposition, what is your agenda? We are telling them the right to life is the first agenda.
Let's be alive first.
Yeah, let's be alive. Let's start there. That's the right to life. And then the freedom from abduction and exploitation and extortion and killing and execution and torture and from dying in police cells. So once we are alive, we can see this Singapore of theirs that they are telling us if it's going to be there. But you cannot promise us to be alive that we shall be dead and then we shall go to Singapore. So when people come and hamuna agenda, tuko na agenda. Agenda is to promise Kenyans, number one, that we shall not kill you. That's the biggest. Don't talk roads, don't talk steamer, don't talk barabara before you talk about the right to life. In fact, the first qualification of a presidential candidate in 2027 should be a respecter of human life, number one, and then human rights, number two. And then every other agenda can follow. Don't give us roads, don't give us steamer, don't give us barabara before we talk about life and the right to life and the dignity of the person and all the constitutional provisions for human rights that are given unto us by the 2010 Constitution. After we've enjoyed our rights, now we can talk about barabara, na stima, na maji, na soko, na Singapore, in that order.
All right.
Yeah.